Whether you're a recruiting doomer or sunshine pumper, text the guys on the First Liberty Bank text line at 405-651-3439. And call your shot on the Riverwind Casino jackpot line at 405-329-9000.
Do it! Just do it!
Now, with Locked In, here's Parker Thune and Grayson Singleton.
Well, Grayson, after sleeping on it, have you been able to land on what the blackest thing about me is?
Off the air, you and I came up with the fact that you're a bassist.
That's what we're going with? That's the answer?
I can't think of any other inherently black things about you.
I'm no Wayman Tisdale, but I can lay down a little groove on the bass.
Okay.
There's no question.
Yeah, I feel like that's a good place to be. To clarify to people, I was not advocating for putting raisins in potato salad.
I had it backwards.
Yeah,
Apparently,
you
that's a
did.
white people thing.
Yes,
now,
that's
such a white people thing.
That is stereotypically a very white people thing.
Apparently, that is such a white people thing. That makes me feel good that I'm not that far on the white end of the spectrum that raisins in potato salad even registers as a white people. Like, I've never met any white people that put raisins in the potato salad.
Now, granted, I have never come across those. Well, actually, have I? I grew up around some really, really white people.
Really?
Yes. Dude, I was homeschooled in Texas.
Gingers?
Who do you think I was growing up with?
Did you grow up around gingers?
I think I knew a couple gingers.
Raisins in the potato salad, man, that's just different.
No, it's disgusting.
Like, ugh.
But no, I would
Makes
say
me squirm.
I would say you probably we need to. What's your wardrobe like?
I mean, you tell me you see it every single day.
But I mean,
now,
is that like so like if you were you ever on the weekends after all my work is done, I might go out to Campus Corner or whatnot and kick it with some dudes out there?
No.
Oh, okay.
I was
because I was gonna say what's your a fit? Like if I told you, hey, go put on a fit, we're gonna go somewhere for like dinner, we're gonna go to an event or something like that. What would you be wearing?
Yeah, I would probably wear about what I'm wearing now, which is a polo shirt.
Oh yeah, you want no, not. So you're not black in terms of that there either. You own
what would my fit look like if I were?
Okay, we can talk about this. All right, so is it winter or is it summer?
Let's say summer.
Okay, winter is when I usually hit my stride when it comes to fashion. But
same here.
So summer, it's just easier for dudes, right? Like in the wintertime, because you can like put your jackets together.
Yeah, man.
And yeah, so
I enjoy the winter wardrobe much more than the summer wardrobe.
Yeah, I do too. I do too. Now, I'd say for the summer, I went to a Rangers game, and then me and my girlfriend went out to Texas Live a couple of weeks ago.
Okay.
I did. I had a nice fitting T-shirt, kind of oversized, and I had some jean shorts. Now, like
jean shorts.
Yeah, so I got back into like the baggy jean shorts because I have like a more urban street style when I'm going to things like that. So I did some jean shorts. I did some Air Forces. Like that's a nice one. I had the chain over the T-shirt. So I did that. Sometimes if I have to wear like a little bit of a polo, I don't wear polos like what you've got on right now, which for those listening is just like a typical, halfway button-up polo. I've got one of those polos that either has a zipper instead of the buttons, or I have one of those polos that's just open, and it goes to like in the middle of the chest, and it's just open, no zipper, no button, nothing. That way I can style the chain, I can style some other kind of jewelry or stuff like that. So it's just more like streetwear style. I got mixing some cargo pants in there as well, some oversized tees. But wintertime, man, whew, the fits go crazy in the wintertime.
They do. I enjoy putting together winter fits much more than I enjoy putting together summer fits. I feel very limited as far as summer fits go.
Yeah.
And where I lose style points is with the shoes because I'm just not I am not inclined to spend big money on shoes.
See, that's the only thing I spend big money on.
Really?
Yeah, like I don't own a piece of clothing that is over $50, except like suits and stuff.
Okay.
Like instead of formal wear. Other than that, everything I wear is under $50.
That's impressive.
FashionNova.com, man.
Really? Okay, so that's
Fashion
your
Nova.
go-to?
Yeah, Fashion Nova is where I get most of my stuff.
I used to be a big Ross guy back in the day. I don't shop there as much anymore. I'm kind of at the point where I don't buy a whole lot of new clothes. These days, my wife buys a lot of new clothes for our unborn daughter. And so that's where all of the hangers in our house keep migrating to.
Of course.
Is the closet in the nursery.
Somebody says 3-star Cole from Claremore on the topic of whether or not you're black. He says, "Can you swim?"
Oh gosh.
Which it had
Yes,
to
I
be
can swim.
which it had to be me that read that. By the way, I can swim too.
Good on you.
Mm-hmm. Took me a minute, but I learned how to swim.
Bryce from Kansas says, and by the way, you want to hit us up on the First Liberty Bank text line, please do so, 405-651-3439. Bryce from Kansas says, you guys are the best to listen to every day. F this heat. Is it October yet? July is going to be a long month, and it's going to especially be a long month on this show, Grayson, because
we just don't got all that recruiting stuff to talk about.
Man. And first off, shout out to Dorsey Jones GMC in El Reno for sponsoring this show every single day. Dorsey Jones is family owned and operated. If you're in the market for a new vehicle, why not a GMC, which offers some of the most reliable trucks and SUVs on the road today. Dorsey Jones also offers half-price oil changes on Saturdays, so make the drive out to El Reno. Check them out. Man, there is nothing to wait on in the month of July. Last year, man, you know what? We had a few recurring topics on this show throughout the month of July. We were in the middle of the Peyton-Houston sweepstakes.
Yep.
We were still waiting on the decision from Davian Gross.
Yep.
That looked at a certain point as though it was going OU's direction. There were several other recruitments that were coming down to the wire. Jake Krell. It was in July that Oklahoma flipped Tank Carrington.
We were monitoring Jaden Petit still.
Very much so. That's about how July has gone in recent years. Like, recruiting is what's gotten us through July. That last gasp before football season where there isn't that much everywhere else to talk about. Not all that much except recruiting to talk about. Mm-hmm. Well, here we are, and it's the final day of June, and July is upon us, and we are waiting on decisions from two targets. Uhila Wolfgram is going to be committed by the end of the week. It's OU and BYU. Jaden Fields is going to commit on July 7th, 1 week from today. Next Tuesday, he will decide between Oklahoma, Texas A&M, Stanford, SMU, and TCU. Things look good for Oklahoma there right now with Fields. It is a neck-and-neck race between the Sooners and the Cougars for Wolfgram. So 1 week from now, Oklahoma will be done, Grayson, done for the summer. I mean, at that point, I'm not really expecting much of anything else to materialize recruiting-wise until the season gets started. Because let's say they split Fields and Wolfgram. Let's say they don't go 2 for 2. Let's say they go 1 for 2. You're sitting at 27 commits. The number I've tossed around for months and months now is 30. And I think Oklahoma could look for 3 or 4 guys late to get them past that 30 commit threshold. But at this point in the process, with basically all of the guys that you welcomed in for OVs already committed somewhere else and not looking likely to flip or already committed to your school, man, you're probably waiting until the first couple of weeks of the high school football season to determine who it is that you really want to pursue over the final few months of the cycle. And so July is going to be a really long month on this show.
Uh-huh.
I'm just preparing you all for that reality now. We might not talk a lot of recruiting in July, because there's not going to be that much recruiting to talk about. If there is stuff happening, we will be on top of it, as always, but I don't know how much is going to be happening.
And you know what? That's okay. And I feel like we're not going to be the only ones who aren't complaining about that. I think the guys who are not going to be complaining about that are the ones in the Switzer Center, because they also deserve a celebratory champagne pop. And they likely will not have the number 1 overall class. But here's why I say that. I say that because you set out with a vision to get all your work done early, and lo and behold, we're here with almost 27 commits. If Jaden Fields goes their direction, we will basically be 1 week into the month of July, and you will have 27 commits. For a lot of people, that's a class. Before the season starts, 5 months away still from signing day. So, yeah, like, we may not have all this content, but You know what we could do for content? Give a round of applause to those people down there at just outside of Gaylord Family Oklahoma Memorial Stadium because they have done a bang-up job.
And they
in
are
this cycle.
all on vacation right now.
And
it is
deservedly
well
so.
deserved. Yeah. And they're still working the phones. Like, they understand there's still work to be done with Wolfgram and Fields. But come July 7th, man, everybody's going to be taking a breath of fresh air.
Good.
As they dang well should. S. Rob Booman on the text line asked, what about Brandon Sherrard's commitment? And he does decide tomorrow. His official finalists are LSU, Texas, and Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
I will be honest, I do not see that one going Oklahoma's way. There's not much of an expectation here in Norman that it will go Oklahoma's way. I think it's going to be Texas there because I think LSU is about to flip Greedy James.
Really?
And so the domino effect there will wind up pushing Sherrard to Texas.
So let me ask you this, because I was looking into this today. Greedy James is listed as a safety on Rivals. Is this a guy that Texas and LSU are both planning to convert to corner?
As I understand it, yes.
Okay.
And, there are certain guys that, like Cortland Guillory, if you can believe that, he was listed as a safety on his recruiting profile.
Huh.
When he was going through the process. And I think Texas actually projected him there. Like, Texas wanted to play Cortland Guillory as a safety. Now, obviously, Oklahoma, Jay Valai, Brent Venables, they said, no, you're a corner. You're a really good one. Get here to Norman.
Mm-hmm.
And they were able to coax him into the boat. But there are certain defensive backs that I think very realistically could project to either spot, either safety or corner. Now, Mikhail McCreary is a guy that we've talked a lot about. That's been committed to Oklahoma for the better part of a year at this point. That it's not entirely clear as of right now whether he's going to play corner in the long run at Oklahoma. That's what they're taking him as, but there's certainly an understanding both internally and externally that he's got the tools to be able to move to safety if that's what they want to do with him. Now, I don't think that's going to happen if they get Jaden Fields because you're good on safeties at that point. You got
Right.
3 of them.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, you can leave McCreary at corner and you don't have to overthink that one at all. But he certainly offers some position versatility. And in every class, generally, especially at a place like Oklahoma, there are going to be at least a couple of guys that are capable of playing multiple spots.
Blake from Owasso asks, is Nagy saving a spot or two to try to flip Case Alexander or Gideon Gash?
As we discussed last week, Oklahoma is not going to wave the white flag with Case Alexander or Gideon Gash. If you needed to put a red eye on 2 guys that Oklahoma, and who's to say whether they succeed or not, but 2 guys that Oklahoma will absolutely try to flip in the fall, it's those 2. It's Case Alexander and Gideon Gash. Oklahoma invested a lot of time and effort into those 2 recruitments, and they wound up falling just short. Gash chose Texas Tech. Case Alexander chose Penn State. If their minds even begin to change at a certain point, rest assured, Oklahoma is going to be right there to bombard them with the Sooner propaganda to jump on board.
Sure.
With the train that's rolling in Norman right now. And keep this in mind. Oklahoma goes to Ann Arbor on September 12th to play Michigan. Ann Arbor's only 45 minutes from Gideon Gash's high school.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you suppose the Oklahoma staff's probably going to be on that Friday night?
Yeah, they'll probably take a little side quest over there.
Uh-huh. So, it ain't over till it's over, in the words of the great Lenny Kravitz. As of right now, Gideon Gash is committed to Texas Tech, and Case Alexander is committed to Penn State. Oklahoma's absolutely going to do what they can to change both of those guys' minds. But I think you have to go into it with reasonable, realistic expectations. Texas Tech's entire class is very interesting to me, Grayson, because it's become clear to me that they don't really care if their commits take other visits. They don't care at all if their commits engage with other schools. You're seeing it with Jalen Brewster.
Mm-hmm.
You saw it with Jaden Nelson, seeing it with Benny Easter. It's a very talented class that the Red Raiders have pieced together, but they got to be pretty confident in the numbers that they've pushed in front of these kids as far as the compensation goes. Because to be this, I guess, concern-free
Just laissez-faire.
Yeah, about your commits visiting other schools, engaging with other staffs, getting recruited by other coaches. Man, Texas Tech, they are as worry-free about it all as any program that I've seen in recent memory.
It's kind of wild, isn't it? But when you know that you are putting forth, if not the most competitive offer, somewhere in the top 3 of competitive offers, you can operate with that level of comfort and that level of just lax when it comes to that. So, I mean, if there's one program that can do it, it would be Texas Tech, except for the fact that they've been Texas Teching in the last 2-3 weeks. I'm still floored that the display that athletic department put on over the last few weeks with the Brendan Sorsby situation hasn't deterred some people from at least being like, all right, do I really want to be here? That to me has been so interesting that, it hasn't affected Gideon Gash, it hasn't affected Jalen Brewster, it hasn't affected Benny Easter, any of those dudes. They're just like, we're chilling.
I'm sure that to an extent what East Texas Sooner pointed out on the text line is correct. He said Tech doesn't care because it's a transactional relationship. I'm sure there's some of that. Like, I'm sure they've made it very clear to those guys that, and like part of the reason all those guys committed is because there was a sizable contract in front of them.
Sure.
And so when you're treating it that way, you're saying, hey, we have an agreement for you to come play for Texas Tech University for X amount of money. If it ever becomes a concern, we can always throw more money at this issue.
Mm-hmm.
Now, does that hold true across the board? Is that always true? No, because a guy like Cooper Hackett, right, there was no amount of money that was going to change his mind about flipping to Oklahoma. And so it's risky business, but Texas Tech does things a certain way. Who am I to tell them they're doing it the wrong way? If that is the case, they'll just have to find it out for themselves. By the way, Brian from Maryland did commit an error. And he sent us a text that was intended for someone else. But I'm okay with this because the text that he sent us that was intended for someone else read as follows. Good to see you, brother. Here's the local Sooner Talk app. On right now, 3 to 4 is the recruiting hour. If you want to get in the weeds, they break it down pretty good and cover it all. They're pretty goofy, haha. And then he sent a link to download the KREF app, followed up and said, shoot, sorry guys, wrong thread. Ran into an OU buddy at Starbucks out here. Hey, that right there is a loyal member of the Ref Army.
Also, are there a lot of OU people up there in Maryland?
I can't imagine there are all that many. But
that's kind of interesting.
He's spreading the good word. We appreciate you, Brian. Brian from Maryland is our texter of the day, without question. You're the man, Brian.
If you were introducing somebody, this is like when you take somebody to church and that random Sunday they're doing some goofy stuff at church. You're like, oh, crap, why'd I bring you? Like, if today was your first day listening to the show and you tuned in at 2 o'clock or I guess 3 o'clock on the East Coast, you would have probably been like, what the hell am I getting myself into?
Hey, you know what? At least Brian from Maryland set expectations where they needed to be. He said
true.
Up front, these guys are pretty goofy. Said, to be fair, raisins and potato salad, Parker's weird Thanksgiving slaw recipe, microwaved salmon, all qualifies as goofy. And you know what? Can't argue with that. One segment down, 2 to go on today's installment of Locked In. Keep it right here on the Ref, the home of Sooner fans. We'll be right back.
Locked In is brought to you every day by Dorsey Jones GMC in El Reno. Dorsey Jones GMC is family-owned and operated with a knowledgeable, low-pressure sales staff here to help you through the buying process and half-price oil changes on Saturdays. Visit dorsey-jonesgmc.com for more information.
The Gimme Zone is back. Join Golf Digest panelist Brian Vineyard and myself, Josh Elmer, every Saturday morning from 8 to 10 a.m. as we break down and dissect everything in the world of golf right here on the Ref and the KREF app. The Gimme Zone is brought to you by our friends at Van Hoos Fence, the premier fence company in Oklahoma. Hear from great guests and from the game's biggest stars as we spend every moving day with you. From February at Pebble Beach through the majors to the Tour Championship in September, the #1 choice for golf coverage in the state of Oklahoma, it's right here on the Ref. staff.
They don't want to hire you because your paper might say Oklahoma School for the Blind.
I was just completely homebound because I was always too afraid to go outside. I want to be a productive member of society, and that's what DRS has given me.
They offer you opportunities to getting a job, helping you learn how to advocate for yourself, find the best way to try living your life in the fullest way possible.
Oklahoma and DRS has been the biggest blessing in my life.
See me.
Not my disability.
Drive home with some serious savings from Confidence Ford of Norman. Right now, you can save a total of $14,500 on a new 2025 Ford F-150 XLT, or save $11,000 on a new 2026 Ford Explorer. Whether it's work, family, or weekend plans, we have a Ford for it. And when it's time for service, trust our top-rated service center and Ford-certified master technicians. Come visit us today at 825 North Interstate Drive, or visit us online, Confidence Ford of Norman, where confidence is Cavender.
Sooner Nation, fire it up. OU is on top, the title is coming home, and it's time to wear the championship pride loud and proud. Head straight to Balfour of Norman, your headquarters, for the championship gear every fan is going to want. We're talking official locker room hats, championship t-shirts, decals, commemorative pins, baseballs, and more. This is the moment. This is the gear. This is how Sooner fans celebrate a title. Balfour of Norman, your OU championship apparel and collectible destination. Visit crimsonproud.com and place your order today.
Beats and Bites is back for its 10th anniversary. Join us to celebrate a decade of delicious food, incredible live music, and unforgettable memories at Riverwind Casino.
Don't miss the fun with Flatland Cavalry, Saturday, July 11th.
I know I could find me a place
With Jason Boland and the Stragglers.
sun is shining somewhere in Texas.
Book your tickets online or at the box office for only $10. And we'll see you at Riverwind.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Meet Janiking, the unrivaled team of cleaning champions. We're here to elevate your business to sparkling perfection. From Oklahoma Memorial Stadium to businesses nationwide, Janiking delivers spotless environments. Proud partner of OU football and OU athletics. As we cheer on the Sooners, Janiking brings the same dedication to every cleaning task. For commercial cleaning services beyond compare, visit janiking.com today. That's JANIKING.com. Janiking, the king of clean. And go Sooners.
Right now at Bob Hurley RV, we've got more ways than ever to get into the right RV. Choose from the largest inventory in Oklahoma. Get payments starting as low as $89 a month and take 90 days before your first payment. Plus, enjoy free camping for a full year. It's everything you need to get started this summer without the wait. Bob Hurley RV. Compare with confidence. You choose what fits. Shop us anytime online at bobhurleyrv.com. That's bobhurleyrv.com. Start your adventure here.
Parker, Thune, Grayson Singleton here with you on the ref, the home of Sooner fans. It's Locked In. Here we are talking recruiting, or what's left of it in the 2027 cycle. The news did come down. I kind of glossed over in the first segment, mentioned it, didn't really get too deep in the weeds on it, but Jaden Fields does have a commitment date on the schedule. It is next Tuesday, July 7th. Grayson Singleton, if the Sooners can get this thing done with Fields, which as of right now they appear poised to do, what's your overall evaluation of this safety haul for Brandon Hall? The haul for Hall. Hall's Hall.
The Hall of Halls.
What do we think? Bodie Sparrow, Jaden Fields, and, of course, the longest tenured safety commit in the class in Jaden Scott. That's what it would be at that point.
Jalen Scott.
Who did I say?
You said Jaden.
Jalen. I said Jaden Fields and Jaden Scott. Jaden Fields, Jalen Scott.
It is. I would say it would have to be just off rip, not going back through the timeline of all his commits. I would have to imagine it would be his most ballyhooed safety haul that he's probably gotten. I don't think I'm that far off. If I'm off, you look at Bodie Sparrow and Jalen Scott. We know who they are. I brought this up yesterday though. Jaden Fields being the third guy. If Jaden Fields was ranked the same as he is right now and was in the 2026 class, he would have been their highest rated safety pickup in that 2026 class, ahead of both Markel Ford and Nico Jandro. That dude as a 3-star high 87, basically a 3-star 88, is going to be your third dude. Oh, and by the way, that guy's 6'2", about 200 pounds. So already has got a very physically developed body to go along with just the superb skill sets of Bodie Sparrow and of Jalen Scott. I feel like they cover a lot of bases in terms of skill sets. I feel like they cover bases in terms of positional versatility, which obviously is a big thing for this defense. And you just got a bunch of guys that can do different stuff and excel at different stuff. So I would say, sure, it would probably be collectively one of his best overall classes in one haul.
Yeah, so when we rewind to what Brandon Hall has brought in at Oklahoma over the years, his safety class in 2023, the 2023 cycle, consisted of Peyton Bowen. Awesome pickup.
Yeah.
Gosh, did they work till the literal 11th hour to get that one done. I mean, just incredible work by the entire staff to get Peyton Bowen on board. The other safety in that class was Eric McCarty. Do you remember Eric McCarty?
Not much.
Oh, man. And Eric McCarty, unfortunately, had a litany of injuries over the course of his couple years at Oklahoma. Wound up transferring, had very little interest, spent a year at Emporia State, and is now out of football. But Eric McCarty was one of the best overall athletes that the state of Oklahoma has seen in the high school ranks in years. Man, he played at McAllister down in the southeastern portion of the state. Not too far from Graydon Howell and Broken Bow. And I mean, he did everything. Just dominated. Like, he played running back on offense, played running back and wide receiver. Defensively, he'd play safety. And so, man, I remember being at a game where Eric McCarty, it might have been against Broken Bow, actually, where Eric McCarty had a rushing touchdown, a receiving touchdown, a pick six, and a blocked kick. And that was just kind of the Eric McCarty experience. Like, he did that every single week. But injuries prevented him from ever making anything of himself at Oklahoma. So, when you look at 2023, Peyton Bowen, good. Eric McCarty, not so good. 2024, I would say that as it stands, this is Brandon Hall's best safety class to date. In that cycle, he landed Michael Boganowski, Reggie Powers, Jaden Hardy, and Michael Patterson-McDonald. Michael Patterson-McDonald never played a snap at Oklahoma. So, okay, toss that one out. Jaden Hardy, Michael Boganowski, Reggie Powers, all three of those guys were on the field for Oklahoma making plays, here and there, but making plays nonetheless as true freshmen. They got on the field as true freshmen. They were on the field even more as sophomores. Hardy wound up transferring to Colorado for greater opportunity, but Powers and Boganowski are locked and loaded starters for Oklahoma heading into this coming season. The 2025 cycle, Hall signed Omarion Robinson, another guy that will have a substantial role for Oklahoma in the back end this fall, and then Marcus Wimberly, who, again, never played a game in his lone season at Oklahoma due to a shoulder injury and transferred this offseason to Utah. 2026, obviously the jury's very much still out because neither Nico Jandro nor Markel Ford has had the opportunity to play a snap at Oklahoma yet. But I think where I might give the 2027 safety class the edge over that 2024 safety class is that Bodie Sparrow absolutely has the potential to be the best safety that's played football at the University of Oklahoma since, I don't know, like, knee-jerk would be Delarian Turner-Yell, but I think he could be better than Delarian Turner-Yell.
I can agree with that, yeah.
I think he could be the best safety that's played football at Oklahoma in a decade plus. He has that type of ability, that type of potential. And that is no knock on all of the excellent safeties that have come through over the last decade, including not only guys like DTY, but Peyton Bowen himself, Robert Spears Jennings.
Yeah.
Patrick Fields had a couple nice years at Oklahoma. There have been other guys that made their presence felt in the back end of that secondary, but Bodie Sparrow's a special football player. And so if you told me that in terms of just like the average career of the three guys that actually played meaningful snaps at Oklahoma in 2024 was better than the average career of the three guys that Oklahoma signs in 2027, assuming they get Fields, I can believe that. But if you also told me Bodie Sparrow winds up being a top 50 NFL draft pick one day and is the most impactful safety that Oklahoma's rostered in 15, 20 years, I can very much also buy that. I don't think those two things are mutually exclusive.
Do we think, because you mentioned Reggie Powers and you also mentioned Michael Boganowski as well, with the size that he's coming in, potentially, if they get this done, do we think Jaden Fields plays safety his entire career at Oklahoma?
Yes. I
Okay.
think so. Well,
I mean, because Reggie Powers has already been moved out of that safety
there's
spot.
cheetah potential there. I could see that.
Yeah.
And Brian and Bigsby asked, are you forgetting Billy Bowman? I didn't mention Billy Bowman with the safeties that were – I think actually Delarian Turner-Yell was a higher draft pick than Billy Bowman, if you could believe that. But, yeah, Billy Bowman had the most outstanding single season for any Oklahoma safety, I would say, since the national championship runner-up season in 2008. His 2023 campaign where he had 3 pick sixes, unbelievable. I need to fact-check myself on that, though. I believe that Delarian Turner-Yell was actually higher.
No, so Turner-Yell was a 5th-round pick. Billy was a 4th-round pick.
Okay, got you. Yeah, 5th round, 152nd overall. But, yeah, Billy Bowman, obviously exceptional as a football player, and he's playing nickel now for the Atlanta Falcons, which that was always the thing about Billy, man, is, yeah, he played safety at Oklahoma, but he could do anything. Man, he started out his freshman year, he was playing corner. He's playing a lot of corner, playing some nickel. He was committed to Texas as a wide receiver before he flipped to Oklahoma. And so Billy Bowman was one of those guys that you put him pretty much anywhere on a football field, he could make something happen.
He's that type of athlete.
Yeah, and everything kind of came together for him in that 2023 season, which was kind of highlighted by the 100-plus yard pick six against BYU in 2023. It was incredible. He had a great career here. I think Bodie Sparrow could be even better than Billy Bowman. I do. I think that also has to do with the level of defensive talent that Sparrow is going to be surrounded with at Oklahoma while he's here. Because Billy Bowman was not always playing with a cast of 10 studs
on
that side of the ball.
No.
I mean, he was lining up next to guys like Trey Morrison and Kenai Walker and Jeffrey Johnson. And there were some rocky years there. There were some really rocky years there. Bowman was a mainstay, but he kind of just had to make magic by himself at times.
It's interesting because when you bring that up with Sparrow playing around other guys who are going to be better than the guys that surrounded Bowman, I mean, you look at defenses like Ohio State, for instance. The fact that all those dudes are so good elevates guys who, they might be good, but it elevates them a little bit more. Like a guy like Peyton Pierce, for instance, who's going to be their middle linebacker this year, right? Jack Sawyer. He good player in his own right, but would we be talking about Jack Sawyer as much if he wasn't playing with all those corners they're sending to the first and second round with Caleb Downs, with Caleb McDonald, and all those types of dudes? So I do think it does have that sort of effect when you can play around a bunch of dudes that make you an elite-level defense. It can elevate you as well.
That is a blast from the past, man. Peyton Pierce, one of my favorite kids that I have ever covered.
Oh.
And he was...
I saw you smile when I said that name. I was
man.
What's he got on Peyton Pierce?
So I don't know if... You probably wouldn't know the backstory here because it precedes your time here in Norman, but Peyton Pierce was very, very close to being an Oklahoma Sooner.
Really?
His great-grandfather, I believe, grandfather or great-grandfather, played football at OU. His grandparents still live in Norman. He's got a brother that lives in Oklahoma. Dad played football, I believe, at Tulsa. And his dream was always to play for Brent Venables. And so I remember going down to Lovejoy High School in Texas and sitting down with Peyton Pierce and just talking about all of that. And it was right after Venables had been hired at Oklahoma. And he was like, man, Venables at Oklahoma, dream school, dream coach, it's kind of my perfect world. And so, Man, there's still part of me that can't believe he didn't wind up at Oklahoma. James Laurinaitis was the one that swayed him.
Now,
James
Laurinaitis. You're talking about a blast from the past, too.
Yeah, and he was a really good player in his own right. But if not for James Laurinaitis, Peyton Pierce would be here at Oklahoma.
Interesting.
He took so many visits here, came so close to committing on so many different occasions. And it was literally, he built a really good relationship when Laurinaitis was at Notre Dame. And then Laurinaitis went back to his alma mater at Ohio State.
Yep.
Peyton Pierce took one visit to Ohio State, shut it down, committed. And that was that. And he won a national championship as a freshman there. So, hey, you know what?
Yep.
Worked out for that kid. Brian and Bigsby said, I went to OU with Peyton Pierce's mom.
Oh, interesting.
There you go.
Wow.
So many OU ties for that kid. So many OU ties. One of those that, it's been 3 years now. That was the class of 2024. Still can't believe that kid did not wind up in Oklahoma sooner. A 405 listener says, we need to hear the Spanish-speaking broadcaster saying, Billy, Billy, Billy. Great moments in OU history. East Texas Sooner said, Michael Patterson McDonald helped with David Stone. Yes, he did. Billy Bowman followed Jada Coleman. Brandon Hall sees the bigger picture. That point would hit with a lot more emphasis, East Texas Sooner, if Brandon Hall was the one that recruited Billy Bowman to Oklahoma, but he was not. That was actually Alex Grinch. Alex Grinch's last class at Oklahoma was actually a really dang good one.
Which class was that? Would
that
have been?
Okay, I shouldn't say his last class because it kind of comprised two different classes, but the last group of guys that he was responsible for recruiting at Oklahoma consisted of Billy Bowman, Robert Spears Jennings, and Jordan Mukes. Jordan Mukes, I think he's still at Abilene Christian if he's still playing college football. But Robert Spears Jennings and Billy Bowman, those dudes could roll.
It's a dang good safety class.
Yeah, those guys could play.
So Alex Grinch did leave Oklahoma with a nice little parting gift.
He did. I think Robert Spears Jennings was the absolute last prospect that he was responsible for recruiting to OU. And he had a great 4-year career here and wound up an NFL draft pick. East Texas Sooner says, well, facts never get in the way of my points. Dang right. That's how we roll on sports radio. Corey from Newcastle asked Parker, what has been the biggest surprise of a recruit that did not end up at OU? I'm being not just because that's fresh on my mind, but my answer might actually be Peyton Pierce.
Really?
I cannot fathom to this day, as much as that kid just glowed and gushed about not only Oklahoma, but the opportunity to play for Brent Venables. I mean, from the very first conversation I had with that kid, I thought it was a done deal.
Really?
Yep. And he became a Buckeye.
Let me ask you this. What about where does another guy with the same first name rank? Peyton Houston.
See, it was surprising how it happened. I wouldn't say it's surprising that it happened.
Okay, fair enough.
Because LSU was the kid's dream school, and he hated Brian Kelly. Like, that family just hated Brian Kelly. Brian Kelly screwed up that kid's recruitment. And so, to this day, I don't know this for a fact. I don't know if this could ever be known for a fact because I'm not sure they would acknowledge it. I truly do believe that by the time Peyton Houston committed to Oklahoma, which was about a month before Kelly was fired, he and his folks saw the writing on the wall, and they didn't necessarily know who was coming in to replace him, but they just knew it's LSU, it's where I've always wanted to be, and if the head coach isn't Brian Kelly, we can rock with that. And they tripped into a really fortuitous situation where he gets to play for Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, so they got a pretty good one.
That turned out well for them. 405-651-3439. That's the First Liberty Bank text line. Hit us up with your questions, comments, opinions, any or all of the above, as we get ready to wrap up with KREF Recruiter of the Month distinction being awarded to one of the Sooners' assistants on the other side. This is The Ref, the home of Sooner fans. Stay with us.
A true Sooner fan wouldn't be caught dead without the KREF app. Join the Army. Get the app. Tell your friends. This is The Ref, where diehard Sooner fans listen.
Hey, it's Chris Plank. Join TJ Perry and myself weekday mornings from 6 to 9 a.m. with The Plank Show. Nobody covers every Sooner sport like we do here at the Ref. So make sure, from border to border and coast to coast, to download the KREF app, presented by Warren Cat. It's the best way to stay connected with the home of Sooner fans, no matter where you are. Simply search KREF from the Apple app or Google Play Store and take us with you everywhere. Download the app today. The KREF app, presented by Warren Cat, proud sponsor of Sooner Athletics.
The City of Norman encourages you to shop local this summer, and what better place to eat, shop, and play local than historic Main Street. With over 67 years of experience, Mr. Robert Fine Furniture and Design stands for quality. Family owned in the heart of Norman, their elegant showroom is filled with unique items from around the globe. Steps from the OU campus, the Noun Hotel offers spacious, thoughtfully designed rooms, plus experience Rally Kitchen and Bar, a culinary gem known for exquisite American cuisine. Book your ultimate Norman getaway at the Noun Hotel. Visit Mitchell's Jewelry on Main Street, where Oklahoma gets engaged. A family business known for outstanding customer service and a fabulous selection of high-quality jewelry. Find the perfect gift at Mitchell's Jewelry today. Join the City of Norman and keep it local this summer when you eat, shop, and play.
Hi. This is Dylan Buckingham. As a parent of two boys who have faced life-threatening health challenges, our family knows when your child is sick, everything changes. Suddenly, nothing matters more than finding hope. For our family, that hope came through the care and support made possible by the Children's Health Foundation. They're advancing research, improving treatment, and standing beside families all across Oklahoma. Because every child deserves hope, healing, and a healthy future. Join us at chfkids.com.
Hey, this is OEC Fiber. Tired of contracts, hidden fees, and support calls that send you halfway around the world? At OEC Fiber, what you see is what you get. No contracts, no fine print. Just fast, reliable internet that's backed by a local support team that picks up when you call. You're not just an account of us, you're our neighbor. So ditch the gimmicks and get fiber internet that's honest. Visit OECfiber.com to check availability. OEC Fiber, internet that puts its people first.
Coach Stoops here for Van Hoos Fence. If you want to work with the best local fence company and get championship service, contact my friend Mark and the Van Hoos Fence team. Van Hoos Fence gives each customer the most professional craftsmanship and competitive pricing in Oklahoma. From wood to chain link to vinyl to metal fences, the Van Hoos Fence team does it all. Contact the Fencing All-Americans at Van Hoos Fence, 405-735-1167 or vhfence.com.
Yo, I'm your old basketball. Haven't seen you out on the courts in a while. Why not pass me over to Goodwill? Donating me helps Goodwill's mission to provide career training and support services right here in the community. And that's a slam dunk. Donate today. Hey, I got next.
To find your nearest Goodwill locations and to learn more about our mission, please visit goodwill.org. Goodwill, where your things start new lives.
Speaking of technology, did you know that RK Black is an authorized dealer for Kyocera copiers? And that Kyocera copiers aren't just copiers. They're smart devices that can scan, print, fax, and email your documents with ease and security. Even better, they're backed by RK Black's award-winning service team that is built on nearly 70 years of taking great care of our clients. Whether you need a desktop printer or a multifunction copier, RK Black has the right product for you. Let's get the conversation started. Give us a call at 943-9800 or visit us at rkblack.com.
Final segments of Locked In here on the Ref, the home of Sooner fans. Tail in the last segment, I was talking about the most surprising recruitment that hasn't gone in OU's favor over the years. A lot of folks brought up DJ Hicks. Again, surprising how it happened. Not really surprising that it happened, because that was back in the day, Grayson, where A&M was just bagging everybody.
Yeah.
Like, you couldn't really be all that. And people
I mean,
were
granted, they've
shocked.
got the number one class right now, too.
Yeah, and people were shocked, but, like, you would have been next level shocked if David Hicks had picked up like an LSU hat at that ceremony. But when the Texas A&M hat came out, you're like, oh boy, here we go again. The Aggies bought another one. And that was just kind of how it went at the time. DJ Hicks, far from the only prospect that was appeared signed, sealed, and delivered to another school, not Texas A&M, and then, the check cleared. So,
dude, it still boggles my mind that whole class flamed out. Now, granted, they might get one first-round pick out of that class in P.J. Williams, but that class was a catastrophic disaster.
Oh, there's a good one from a 405 listener. What about the wide receiver who went to Clemson? Yeah, Bryant Wesco. Bryant Wesco looked like an Oklahoma lean for quite a while. Had a sister that played soccer at Oklahoma and was already on campus in Norman. But then right before he committed to Clemson, right before he was supposed to take all his official visits, the old soccer coach got fired. I forget what the heck his name was. Potter, something or other Potter. And Oklahoma brought in Matt Mott, friend of the program. And Bryant's sister, Bailey Wesco, transferred to North Texas, I want to say. And so at that point, he'd still spent a lot of time up at OU and around Emmett Jones. And there was a feeling that if they'd gotten their shot with Wesco during OV season, they still could have made it stick. But he took one official visit and shut it down. He went to Clemson. It was his first time ever being on campus there and loved it so much, he just decided to commit.
And he's still there, isn't he?
He is?
Yeah.
Doing pretty well for himself.
Yeah, he is. He's been a good player.
Yeah. Him and TJ Moore.
Yep.
Now, Clemson as a program, he's struggling. But
yeah,
him and TJ Moore, they're going to be weapons for whoever is playing quarterback at Clemson this fall. I guess Christopher Vizina?
Yeah, Chris Vizina, yeah. Weren't on the text line, weren't people expecting TJ Moore to potentially enter the portal this offseason?
There was a lot of rumor about that.
I remember we tossed that around a lot.
Yeah, I don't know how much of it was credible rumor, but there was a lot of noise about TJ Moore. And of course Oklahoma's going to get brought up because his high school teammate is Eddie Pierre-Louis, who's here at OU now, and OU was involved in TJ Moore's recruitment out of high school, and so it's only natural if that had ever been a conversation with TJ Moore that Oklahoma would have been one of the schools referenced. A 740 listener, before we get to KREF Recruiter of the Month, a 740 listener with an interesting question. Which school do you feel is recruiting the best with the least amount of resources?
Oh.
Now, my answer for years and years to this question was Oklahoma State. And honestly, the rankings wouldn't have indicated that they were recruiting spectacularly.
Mm-hmm.
But, man, the guys they got, Mike Gundy always squeezed 8, 9, some years even 10 wins out of them.
Yeah.
And so with what they spent on recruiting, which was less than $500,000 a year.
Which is still bananas.
Absolutely bananas, because most P4 schools these days are spending at the very least north of $1.52 million.
It's almost
the very top end is like double that.
Yeah, it's almost malpractice.
Yeah. What would you say the answer is today?
With the least amount of resources. I mean, I don't know if it can still be Oklahoma State. We got to see what they do with Eric Moore, so I'm going to bounce off of that. Would it be somewhere like, is it still Kansas State?
Kansas State's always been pretty stable, pretty solid.
Is it still K-State? Is it a team like – I'll tell you what, a team that I keep hearing a lot about these last 2 years I've covered this that I never expected to is Minnesota. And I have no idea what their resources are like up there, but the fact that I keep hearing Minnesota a lot when it comes to players that are mentioned in the same sentence with Alabama and Oklahoma and others like that, that's another school that's caught my eye. Those would probably be the other two outside of Oklahoma State, because that's exactly where I would have gone.
I'm glad you brought up Minnesota, because that's absolutely true. I mean, some of the guys that they pull every single year some of the guys that they coax into the boat. Wisconsin is also in this conversation. Wisconsin.
Do they have low resources?
They have more than they used to have, certainly. There's been a little bit more investment into that program. Like that program, that entire athletic department is in dire straits right now. You know it's in dire straits when you're hiring Sean Eichhorst to be your new AD. Did you see that news
Yeah,
this morning?
I saw that, and I saw you reposted it. What's the story on Sean Eichhorst? Is there something I'm missing here?
Sean Eichhorst was the AD at Nebraska.
Right.
And I don't know that this is entirely fair, but he is the one that is largely held responsible by that fan base for wrecking the football program.
Oh, gosh. Okay, fair enough.
Because he was the one that fired Bo Pelini and hired Mike Riley and kicked off the appalling chain reaction that eventually led to the Scott Frost debacle. And I mean, Nebraska hasn't been remotely relevant or successful since Bo Pelini was dismissed by Sean Eichhorst. But the reason why those announcements, those news-breaking posts from the Pete Thamels and Pete Nakoses of the world got ratioed into oblivion is because everyone remembers Sean Eichhorst from his tenure at Nebraska, and they remember him for being not very good at his job.
Mm-hmm.
Wisconsin's actually hiring him away from Texas. I'd lost track of him. I didn't realize he was at Texas right now as deputy AD and COO for the Longhorns. But yeah, Wisconsin and Minnesota, I think part of that has to do with regionality and just some of those high-level blue-chip prospects that come from the upper Midwest being loyal to their home territory and giving those two schools the hometown discount, if you will. But both those two schools recruit probably a little bit better than they would in a vacuum or should in a vacuum. It also helps that Minnesota has a guy that is undyingly loyal to the university in PJ Fleck. Is he going on year 11 up there? I mean, he's been there a minute.
And there's no indication that he's ever going to leave.
No. One of the Arizona schools, good call, 918 listener.
See, that one gets lost in my mind because of the types of people that go there. I wouldn't put them in the category of don't have resources, but shoot, probably. And plus for Arizona, most of those resources go to the basketball side.
Yeah, and for Arizona State, man, Kenny Dillingham recruits his tail off.
He does.
He ain't writing many six-figure checks, though.
He just had a player get drafted in the top 10.
That's right. 405-651-3439 if you want to get any final thoughts in. But as we wrap up the show, let's hand out the KREF Recruiter of the Month award. Grayson Singleton, would you offer any argument if I said that my nomination for the award is Brandon Hall?
You and I are in lockstep here, bro. There's no other argument for me. This was the recruitment that you had to get done. This could be a transformational type of player on your back end. This was one that you kind of had to sweat a little bit because of the religious connection to BYU, and you got it done. I have no quarrel with Brandon Hall being the Recruiter of the Month. None whatsoever.
Anybody want to contest it on the First Liberty Bank text line, 405-651-3439. Otherwise, we're going to hand this thing to Brandon Hall, man, because once Gabe Osborne jumped in the boat, and at that point, Oklahoma had, Cooper Hackett, Caden Penny, Osborne, the big Oklahoma three. They had Seneca Driver locked in. They had Cooper Witten done. Bodie Sparrow was far and away the highest profile, highest priority guy left on the board. And for Brandon Hall to get it done, for Oklahoma to get it done, to stave off that late charge from BYU, that takes the cake for me. Brian at Bixby says, Skip Johnson recruiting the big three. Maggie said the exact same thing. Yeah, Skip Johnson for recruiting the starting rotation for the CWS to come back.
You know what? That ain't bad. That ain't bad.
You know, I will say this, though. I don't think Skip Johnson cares much to be named KREF Recruiter of the Month because the title that he bears right now is National Champion, which, you know, that as prestigious as the KREF Recruiter of the Month award is, I would say the majority of the population would prefer to bear the title of National Champion.
Yeah.
Maybe one day soon, that will be the case for Brandon Hall. But for the moment, he will have to settle for KREF Recruiter of the Month distinction.
Big YB on the YouTube chat says, I hope Parker runs for president someday. What a dude. And then he nominates me as the vice president.
I would be your VP. if you wanted to make a run for president. I probably would never run for president.
I don't think I would either.
Really?
Nah.
Here's the thing, man. When you're a politician, and I know this firsthand, like, thankfully, old Uncle John has 0 skeletons in his closet whatsoever, but, like, there's no aspect of your life that can be guarded from the public eye.
Nah.
When you're a politician. And I just don't want, like, I enjoy having a sense of anonymity, a sense of privacy.
Now, I will say people in our industry, I mean, they'll pull up our takes and use them as receipts if we were wrong.
Oh, yeah, they certainly will.
But that's the worst thing that happens
live with
to
that.
us.
But, like, if I were ever the subject of a Candace Owens video, I'm done at that point. I'm done. I'm out.
That's rock bottom for you?
It doesn't get any worse. 405-651-3439. That's the First Liberty Bank text line. Thanks to Dorsey Jones in El Reno for their sponsorship of the show. We'll be back tomorrow with another highly adventurous installment of Locked In. For Grayson Singleton, I am Parker Thune. Don't go anywhere. Teddy and Tyler got The Rush coming up next. 3 more hours of OU Sports Talk is ahead here on the home of Sooner fans. You guys take it easy, and we'll see you again same time, same place tomorrow.